Valerie Clausen. I'm owner of Planning Outpost, and that is a land use consulting firm that specializes in general plan updates, special area plans. We do zoning, code rewrites, fee studies, public engagement services, which is what a huge part of general plan. Am I totally in the way? You guys, it's been a long week. Sorry, thanks for moving the other way. And I've been doing planning for over 22 years. I worked both on the jurisdiction side and then also consulting. I started my firm in 2021 with a recognition that particularly Utah cities and counties and jurisdictions needed a voice that was being heard in implementing general plan updates and other planning functions that were kind of either being ignored or things are getting more complicated. And I really wanted to be able to facilitate old school planning, honestly, just going back to what planning used to be. I'm going to introduce my colleague here.
I'm Larry. I've been working with Planning Outpost ever since my wife made me.
Yeah.
It's actually been a lot of fun because my background is in public outreach and talking to large, small groups to get those ideas out of what is in their heads and what's going on, what's working, what's not. And so you'll get to hear from me a little bit later.
Thank you. And then we have county people here as well. So we have Kate over here, Commissioner Mike. Where did the other commissioner go? Oh, it was you, Commissioner. You were looking down, Commissioner Nickerson. And so, yes, we've got others, got Chris and Jeremy. And so that is, I think I've covered all the introductions. Okay, good. All right, as for tonight, what we're going to get accomplished, and we'll try and get you out of here on time. And because we know that everybody has busy lives. And so, again, we know what a sacrifice it is to be here tonight. First is a quick discussion and overview on what a general plan is and what it is not, what this project entails, and then we have some activities, and then the wrap up and the breakout session is just in the back if you would want to join us in drawing up on the maps and identifying some key sites there. What a general plan is, it is a long-range strategic document that guides the county's growth, and it's a visionary document that is over 10 to 20 years. It is comprehensive, public-driven, and policy-based. It's to guide decision makers on applications and things that come before them so that they know what the residents, it's a whole process to gather that input of what the residents envision their communities to be. The functions and benefits of a general plan is that it coordinates development, it qualifies for grants and funding. A lot of times when the counties go after money for grants, they have to show that that project has been vetted through some kind of public process. And this does that for them, that it's not just a staffer going, oh, I think this is a great idea, we're going to go for that for this money. No, it's projects that have been prioritized and vetted. The general plan helps preserve identity, and it's proactive planning versus what we tend to have to do a lot of times is the reactive planning that happens in all jurisdictions of all shapes and sizes. The planning process is a method. There's different phases. There's project initiation, existing conditions analysis, community engagement. That phase happens to last throughout the entire project. Then there's the vision and guiding principles that are developed, and then the land use growth and framework. And the main question that is answered in a general plan is what kind of community we want to be and how will we get there? And in this instance, the community is going to be Morgan County as a whole, and then there's going to be chapters of the communities having their own, those area plans all in one document. What a general plan is not. What happens is people think it's the same thing as zoning or the laws of the county, and it is not. It is not a zoning ordinance. It is also not just a land use map, because you wouldn't create just a land use map that didn't have any context. So there's other chapters that are included that give context to the land use, and then there's other chapters that the state just requires that every general plan has. Lastly, it is not a guarantee for a rezoning to happen. And it's also not a guarantee for a specific business. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, I want this to come in. It has to be a Trader Joe's or it has to be this or that. And it doesn't guarantee that. But what it can do is create the environment in which to attract those kind of uses and develop patterns that you as the community want. So the objective for the Morgan County General Plan update is that in the context of a robust public engagement, that the plan will reflect the current desires and vision of the county residents. There will be the creation or the update of community plans. So as I mentioned, so it's in one single document versus a plan and having an appendix of like an afterthought of, oh, this is, it's going to be all one. So it all is, can be actionable and be cohesive. Again, that's the best word to use in this instance. Then we'll have a general plan that is compliant with Utah State Code because it'll have chapters that the state requires that all general plans have. And then it will have the recommendations and implementation of what's discovered in the general plan. So the public engagement plan, this is in no particular order, just other than that the first one with public hearings, that is required by law to have a public hearing with the planning commission, who then makes recommendation to the council for adoption. So in this process, there also will be work sessions that will be held as it gets closer to adoption. Then we have a project website available 24/7. So it will be the repository of just the entire of documents, of presentations, of where we're at in the process. And so you're able, actually on the sign-in sheet, if you want to get distribution on the email list, you'll get updates. And then there's also us dedicated engagement specialists that can answer questions. Then there'll be small group stakeholder meetings, virtual, for those, probably 3 of those that will pull in. Those people have like similar interests or things, that resources that aren't necessarily, so like UDOT will have information on transportation, or your parks and trail boards might have specific things. And so that's what that entails. And then we currently have a resident survey that's open through the 24th. And we encourage you to go and fill that out. It has slightly different questions than the work session or the workshop we're doing today. And so go ahead and go online and fill that out. And then last but not least, while we're here tonight, we're doing a workshop. And so we have we have 4 of these. This is the last one of this series. Last month, we did have a kickoff meeting with it was a joint meeting with the county commission and the planning commissioners. And so we had that. We did similar, we did a SWAT with them. We'll be doing a SWAT with you guys. And so that's where we're at in the process with engagement plan. And then in the spring, we'll have the land use and priority, and that'll be an open house, 3 nights. You can come on the night that works best for you. You can come and go. It won't be at all. It'll have a different format than tonight, and you'll be able to review the exhibits and make feedback in the middle of the plan. And then at the end will be the final plan forums, 2 nights. Again, pick the night that works best for you, and that's where the final plan will be ready for comment before it is prepared for the public hearings. Okay, any questions? So the last one that was adopted was 2010. Someone said, I thought it was 2014, but they said 2010 was the last one that was adopted. And then there was some other stuff in more recent times that was worked on, but
like the area plans that you guys worked on the last couple of years, but it never came before commission. So it would have been attached to the plan that was never finished. So
this brings it all together here. So general plans, so the state of Utah, general plans are usually 20 years is what they are, 10 to 20 years. There will be demographic and forecasts that go out 50, but a general plan, you usually shoot for the 20 years, and then by then the state has usually changed something and we have to add something to it. Yeah.
And so I remember when the planning commission had 50 years, there wasn't letting anything go through because the guy that was here back then had an agenda. He's no longer here. And it was blocked and lost. Now we got. And we don't, I don't care anything about it. So is that on?
I don't know about a 5th-year plan. I just would know that. Yes.
Yeah. No, I never did. Well, that was the planning commission, not on building and doing.
You've been here longer than.
No, I mean, I spent 7 years on the planning commission. And I did- Maybe it was later.
Who was here? Lance. I was coming to meetings 3 years ago when I was up in Croydon. And a lot of stuff was actually, Lance moved for dismissal as soon as they hit the point. And they still went through the, so. But then after Lance left, never heard anything about it. So. I mean, that was probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, I just know that like the typical, I couldn't speak specifically to Morgan County, but all jurisdictions in Utah have to have a general plan. And whether or not they were saying that the 2010 plan was to be longer, I don't know, but seriously, the state usually adds something that requires some kind of update, at least to a chapter or two feels like every year, but it's usually every 5 or so years. So yeah, this one is a new one. This is so that it can be comprehensive, so that it can have the county as a whole, because it's a county-wide plan, and then chapters will be included for these community area plans. Right now, one of the chapters, speaking of the state requiring additional chapters, one is the water use and preservation element. And we are working on getting that. That has to be adopted by December. And so we were able to do a quick turnaround in meeting the requirements of that chapter. And we are working toward that for adoption. It goes to Planning Commission on Thursday night. So that's the focus right now, is that water use and preservation. And then the process is about 14 months. It could go, sometimes those last, kind of have some dead months where you have to have advertising and not a lot's going on. You're just waiting for the public hearing. And so it could run anywhere between 14 to 16 months. Hey, any other questions? Okay, I'm going to turn the time over to Larry, and we're going to get into the meat of the meeting.
So this is the time of the meeting where our focus shifts from listening to us listening to you. We do that. Tonight is really based off of the idea of visions and values of your community. Now, there's a reason why we're looking for that. And yes, some people tell me, well, hey, that sounds way too touchy-feely. We're used to ordinances and codes that are really broad. Well, general plans are not broad. Well, at least they don't have to be. The general plan is really a policy document that helps people understand what the community that they're looking at is trying to do, trying to get to, those things that they value and hold sacred, for lack of a better word. We need to know what those are. Now, in a community like Morgan, that is a tight-knit community, there's lots of people that often tell us that, oh, well, everybody knows. Well, sure, you probably do. It's everybody else that we're interested in at this point, so that they know as well. So we're going to get some information from you guys today, and we're going to do that through these activities. Now, on your desks, there should be a packet for each of you. We will be collecting these at the end. If you don't have a packet or need some more, let us know. We got plenty. And we're going to walk through this together. And we're going to also get that information. So this is an opportunity for you to talk together as a table. If something hits your mind that you want to share with the rest of the group, we want to hear that, because your thoughts will help stimulate ideas for other people. So this can be a lot of fun. So here we go. So the very first page, it's got the grid paper right here. We're going to walk through the first two questions. Describe a moment when you felt most connected to your community. Now, we're looking at two things here. We're looking at your neighborhood, your community, where you live, right there. We're also talking about the county, so if you have a couple of things of where you actually felt connected. Now, these connections help us to be able to, when we get to land or other elements of the plan, make sure that we're supporting those ideas. Because there are some communities, I don't know very many of them, but I know they're out there, that is like, I don't want them. I don't want them to help. I want big walls. I want a moat between my house and their house. But we need to know what that is. We need to know what's most important. So take a minute or two to write down a time when you felt most connected to your community, and we'll share about that. For those of you that have worked ahead, you can go ahead and move on to number 2, which is identify the qualities of the county that are either missing, that should be restored, preserved, or created to build your community. So those qualities that you want to see your community. So let's take a few minutes for that. And if you've got questions or comments, go ahead and just yell them out. We'll go from there. Sound good? This is not like the SATs. You're probably able to talk to each other on it.
You talking area or all county?
So yes, the answer is yes. If there's something specific to the whole county, go ahead and note that for the whole county, XYZ. For my part of the community, I'm going to for this. If they can relate together, even better. Yeah, we're digging deep here, guys. We're digging deep.
Would you want us to comment now or whenever?
You will take them down, take them in writing, whatever you want to do. If that's something you want to talk about.
Well, I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for, but I put down Croydon community individuals gathering. It doesn't matter what they are or. So some of the things they do are breakfast, do a podium, they do music nights, tree. If you need help, project, you just have to post it. Bring the community incredible. It's more beautiful than I. Really nice to see they have good sources. People.
Awesome. Yes, that's exactly what we're looking for. That's exactly what that community that is there helping out each other, that you have a partner that's gathering. That's exactly what we're looking for. What else? What other ideas? What other thoughts? All right, this side of the room has one. Okay, yes. Yeah, I knew the competition would make it happen. So go ahead.
My wife and I enjoy attending events together.
County fairground.
I feel real connected to the community and we participate.
Awesome. So that fairground is a real, what other thoughts? What about things that are missing?
Anything I'm missing for them, but continuing education, they need to do. To reinforce whatever. A lot of different things, canning, gardening, and there, class, yes. People, a lot of fun. Open on a lot of things and stuff.
So educational opportunities both in the book side, but also in the actual going through the. That's a great one. Yes.
I have a voting a lot of things going to speak. But this year, not to receive them. And we understood. Taking down and that it was less than so many people in the community that. That's why together. From getting them. Yeah. Not based on.
That totally makes sense. We heard a couple of days ago, missing the newspaper. So yeah, that's no brainer.
That could be awesome if you can have. If you go. That's, that we. We, somebody in our neighborhood that was antique. If he would have died, if we had that there, it would have. Very responsible.
Absolutely. Did you grab this?
So I got this recorded, but it only seemed like you're Cindy Carter level. So, can you repeat it?
So she was saying,
Which has been approved by the county is moving forward on that, to improve the construction. It's been working on a partial base station. So
Yeah, it's scheduled.
it's scheduled to be constructed. And we already have an apparatus ready to go.
Already have staff.
Moving forward.
So Kate was mentioning that, this meeting is being recorded, but it's this little dude right here in the middle, so if we can all talk real loud, if there's anything you can't hear, I'm happy to repeat it. That's all. What other qualities are missing or attributes of the community that just live without, don't want to live without? Yes, sir.
So, well, driving home yesterday, this is the example. You got a deputy sheriff and he has to go watch 2 cows on the road. I mean, there's a sign that says free range up there. Free range means you don't need to call the sheriff to see a cow. So there's that. Pastoralism was accepted. I also enjoyed voting in my own precinct, not having to go by mail. I don't do I will not do. But those are the 2 things that, yeah.
Okay, those are great ideas. Anything else from this side of the room? If not, feel free to keep working on this page. We can go ahead and move forward. How many people have heard of SWOT analysis? SWOT. SWOT. So a SWOT analysis is where you identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is the second part. This page is for your community, your neighborhood, your area, world. Not specifically the county. You've got a big SWOT board in the back that you can put things for the county. We've also added to the SWOT an R. The R stands for resilience. And so we'll go over these real quick. So the strength, we're defining strength as what do we already have in our communities that works well or makes us proud. So that's what we're considering a strength. A weakness is things inside our community that aren't working as well as they should, or that hold us back from moving forward. So that's what we're talking about for a weakness. Opportunities include good things outside of our community that could, that we can take advantage of or bring here. Those are opportunities, things that are working well someplace else that we can bring here. And then the threats are what challenges or outside pressures could hurt our community in the future. And then finally, we'll talk about the R. Now, the R is one of my favorites. R stands for resilience. And this is what helps our community to bounce back or adapt when things go wrong or when we're faced with new challenges we didn't expect. So we heard about one of those resilience things, the community coming together. So that's what we're looking for resilience. So take a few minutes, let's work on that page and then let's share what we come up with. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and then finally resilience. And keep in mind, You can put whatever is coming to mind. We didn't ask for your names on these, so we won't know where it came from. So you can, if you've got something that you really want to put out there, please do. And the groups. Every part of the county is a little bit different. Anyone want to share a strength of your community?
People,
The people, absolutely. People, what else? Yes, sir.
High level of private property, some people look at it as a weakness, but, if you consider how true well was really made, it's really extracted the drone from the ground. It's private property, everything else is a service and it's a rehandling of whatever came and was extracted. So because of that, it allows us to have what.
That's a great one. That's a great one. What else are strengths within your community?
Two-parent homes.
Their homes. Anything else come to mind?
Everyone has everyone's phone number.
Everyone has everyone's phone number. So growing up, I grew up in a small town in northern Nevada. Until I hit high school, we had 4-digit dialing. And when the community picked up the phone, 4 digits away you went. You had to dial 9 to get a long distance line. It was kind of fun. People looked at me like I was nuts, you know, when I tell them about that.
We used to do that in Croydon, at 6:49.
Oh, there you go. Uh-huh. We even had, in many of our houses growing up, people had 2 telephones. The 2 telephones, one was a local phone, the other one was the long distance one, because if they paid the 15 or 20 bucks a month for the other town, you actually got long distance through most of Nevada free as part of it. So everybody had 2 phones hanging on their walls. Grew up with a family that actually had an 800 number so that their family could call them and they could call out. You know, I miss some days. Yes,
I have a question.
With schools, it's very, very valuable that you have parents in the home versus single parent or something like that. Because it, you can look up the data on it. It's still better. There's parent involvement in schools, and that greatly reduces the impact of students regulation.
I was thinking, is there quality that we have our own water company?
absolutely.
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 Autonomy there, I think is probably what, some autonomy with that you have your own water. Yeah.
What about weaknesses? Those are awesome strengths, but what are some weaknesses? What are the things that could be holding you back? As a community. Yes, ma'am.
No problem with the shovel. There's a state park up there now, and they're holding their back. You know, parties, and it happen up there because it's not coming in from somewhere else. And we don't have, you know, I have people knocking my door to the bottom of the room, go and come all the way. And I'm right away, it's from the dam, nobody would answer the door. There's no way for them if they're in the something I've ever even get.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a weakness. What else? Yes.
I like, I've been around Valley and where they've got that barefoot too. I like the mission. It's trash everywhere. I feel like that's a big problem. It seems like it's getting worse every year.
Getting worse every year, people are bringing things. Being concerned with the environment. I think definitely weakness. What other thoughts?
I think there's also like not been a ton of historical conservation in the room. Old city house in around Sally there is just rotten.
That elevated.
One of the challenges in having a lot of private. We have the highest percentage of private property in the state of Utah.
Uh-huh.
But when you have private property, you have historical structures that complicates it, right? Because they're owned by private property and it's more difficult for public interest to be able to deal with.
To figure that out, to preserve those things and acquire them if
I
necessary.
will tell you though, that the Historical Society, I sit on that board and they have been in contact with the new owners of the golf course and have been trying to work with them to develop a way to preserve and restore that.
Awesome.
One of the other weaknesses just of the whole county is it's narrow valley. So all it takes an accident on the freeway in either direction for shut down. And it impedes business and impedes everything.
And everything's not.
I mean, it's a weakness. I'm not saying there needs to be a solution issue.
But it is a weakness that needs to be understood.
Yeah.
So if there is a mitigation that's possible, that's something that we can take advantage of, or just be aware, so that as the rest of the plan comes back, we know that that is a potential. Great call out, great call. Yes.
Say the Dyer's loan is getting really bad. I feel like it's really frustrating, like we just trying to manage it on our property. And our property backs up and there's, the county fairgrounds and stuff nearby and it's just everywhere. And it seems like it's never sprayed until after it's already been seed.
Okay.
And that goes for like the phragmite varieties that are growing all by the fairgrounds too, as it's creeping further and further up to the Rock Valley. And it seems like nothing's been done to eradicate that invasive weeds.
Great call. Other thoughts? All right, how about opportunities? What have you seen in a neighboring community or even something like that? That could be a real boost if it was brought in.
Public pool.
Public pool. I have heard that
We've heard
before.
that before.
Public pool.
Nobody wants a public pool until they have to pay.
I know. This is the fun part, where you see, where you get themes of, the themes from desires of the residents that.
Public pool, great call out.
It's also,
That's all. And why is that? Go ahead.
You've seen rep centers, we have a rep center in Davis County, and they have 1,000 people. Came into that.
Yes.
We have 15,000.
And they still don't make a profit, it's doesn't make to accommodate keeping it, it's multiple.
So that whole balance of the right amenities or the right opportunities, but then the priorities to be able to support. But yes, absolutely. What are other opportunities?
lots of mining opportunities.
Lots of mining opportunities. Coming from northern Nevada, I understand those. Absolutely.
We have a lot of small businesses and not a lot of chains.
There's an opportunity for the, like, entrepreneurial.
That makes sense, absolutely. Okay, Brett. Pressures that could hurt the community. What's Brett? Yes, ma'am. Two guys for.
Outside interests come in and develop And into conditions down, in the last 10 years, like. But.
The amount of growth and that's been happening.
Yeah.
Outside people coming in, grow, building, daily.
Well, it's turned into more little thick subdivisions and. It's not.
Okay, so the connectivity, people knowing everyone is now having their big, thoughts. Great, okay. So that's a great problem. What are the threats?
Too much high density housing.
Too much high density housing? We're here.
You know, I think all of that is, if we have that is because of rapid. Property becomes really expensive. The way to have anything that's even halfway is make the property small. Right? But then you end up with high density housing because that's synonymous with affordable housing. You end up with major changes, you know, to the community because in order to play the game, right, to live in the community, you got to pay the money.
Right,
And
right.
that's a big threat because our kids can't afford to live here. I couldn't afford to live here when I moved here today. And I think a lot of people would probably say the same thing. And so I think that's a huge problem we have. And with rapidly rising land values, if you're working the land, farming, ranching, minerals, whatever you're doing, that doesn't pay the bills anymore. It doesn't pay for the land anymore. And so what's your alternative? You know, well, you get to a situation where you got to sell the property. You have generations get to a point where they need to pass it down or do something with it. And the easy alternative is to sell, right? Because dividing it doesn't work very well either. So it's a big challenge in this case.
Absolutely, yeah, that threat from the outside folks that are coming in, finding those farmlands, those big swatches of land that they can exert a lot of pressure and the current generation may be good with saying no. That next generation may be easier to say yes. Yeah, yes, sir.
This is a little indirect, but it's relevant. So many of us travel down through the canyon and go to Solid County, Davis, or Croydon County, and the state is trying to fix that intersection, but they're running into issues with the railroad, allowing them rights of way to change the way that intersection works. And that affects virtually every one of us in this county in one way or another. We've been, held up or basically down or come back, during certain times. And I don't know, is the railroad going to impact when we try to change the interchange down in Mount Green? Is that going to play a role in this doing what makes most sense for they own?
That is great. Totally know. Did you have
Yeah, that, well related. That was great. Thank you.
other threats?
You got the natural disaster, you got fire, it's flooding.
Yes.
How serious is the adoption proposal to go walking path in Packard and Moore? What do you know about it? And how real is it?
So that is something that I would specialize in to be able to get any idea of how real that is. That's definitely coming from the governor's office. Have you heard?
I've not.
So that's part of the Utah Trails Network. That's their pie in the sky. Like there's no, if you look at it,
Coming down that canyon with interstate highway and the railroad tracks, and you haven't got enough wide enough space to make a trail light for cows, let alone somebody's walking path. I want to know who's gonna fight that and
So if I can reword that for this activity, the threat that you're seeing and you're identifying is the state's desire to place something within your community that may not fit
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
wait,
why
wait.
you're my way.
Yeah. That is definitely correct. We see that quite a bit, the higher up you get in the government, hierarchy, and then we're like, oh, we can do this, and it'll make everybody's life better. But they haven't done that research to be able to see what it is right there. And so, but that is a great call out, Martha. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
The rest of us is, through my ranch, I have four interstate pipelines. I have two 50,000 volt power lines. I have a railroad, an interstate, and 4 fiber optic lines. Now tell me how you conduct any kind of which activities punched into that narrow strip and in one man's place. It's come out of there without somebody being a pretty grumpy about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So easements coming through private properties. These are great call out. So how about the oh, yes.
Is there, and I'm asking a question here, is there a threat that the federal government is sending funding to small municipalities to change the structure of those municipalities?
The governing structure or what kind of structure? Population?
Force population change based on the federal government desire.
Well,
You know what I'm referring to?
well, I'm not exactly picking up what you're putting down, but I'm not exactly picking up what you're putting down. But I know of the more at like the state level, their progressive nature of saying, oh, all cities need to develop a certain way. And that's just kind of like the agenda kind of across the nation. I mean, like all of a sudden now single family zoning is evil. Like, how is that inherently evil? I have to get opinionated now, okay? Because, for most of us, that's the greatest wealth we'll ever have in our life is our own home. And if your zoning laws can't protect that, like what will? And so,
Maybe it's related to zoning laws specifically.
it might, yeah, that it could be that there are all these pressures to do things that the autonomy of the local jurisdictions being taken away.
With funding attached and then long strings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They put seed money into the projects and things that they want and offer things like that so that then it will develop in a way that they want it to. Yeah, that's why I was like, whoa, I want to do something. I had to do something with my own profession, because my own community having some things that I didn't agree with. So does that answer the,
Yeah, that-
okay, okay.
We have
Well,
lots of discussions about that. Lots. So,
over the dinner.
yes, sir, Matt.
So back when in 2010, when they adopted that general plan, they went through the exercise of Envision Utah. And then they did the Envision Oregon. Well, essentially it was all funded through the 10 to 2030 is kind of what it's coming from. And so a lot of this is what, I mean, if you want to get the root of it, that's where it's coming from, the 2030. And so that's why, there might be a little bit of a bad feeling in a lot of stomachs because how are we going to guarantee we're not just playing in 2030 again? So.
Okay,
So,
that, I did not know that the 2010, now that you say that, that is totally the timing of when you would go to the exercises and it would be like, are you, and they would equate like a bird or something, and it's like, I'm neither of
Got
those.
two pictures here, and one showed slums and criminals, and the other showed this resort with multi-development. This actually looked good, so everybody kind of picked that one and not this slum or whatever.
Yep.
So.
And you'll notice the resident survey, I've done a bunch of surveys and it's hard, like this one ended up being way more open-ended because people feel otherwise that they're put like in boxes, just like you described.
Yeah.
And so, and doing this long enough, I don't make anybody, like I don't make everybody happy, but I do, it's a clean slate, guys. Like, I mean, it really is. There isn't anything and the county's the one that has decided to put their resources toward this plan. So it really, that kickoff meeting was get out to the residents and hear what they have to say. So.
None of the funding for this general plan update is coming from the state or the feds. So,
and then all the way back.
This is
piggybacking on what Scott, he said, also. Either the state jurisdictions trying to implement things in the county, or it's in earlier developers. And, you drive around some of these places in this county, the hills doesn't have anything. Serious. So, what kind of done when it comes to development, comes from either the state pushing it on this county or outside developers, because they have $5 attorneys. I feel like our county needs better representation, maybe, and expertise with that. I feel like we get run over. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but I feel like said interests have a lot more money, a lot more $100 attorneys. They come in here and talk. And that's it. We're too nice. No, that's a good thing, but it's bad thing when it comes to the naive part. So,
And I said it's like almost a weakness, but I don't view it as a weakness. Like, this whole county was developed out of handshakes. We were a handshake community, and now everything needs to be in writing because everyone coming in here has 3 attorneys deep. And when you have, you know, a farmer or a diesel mechanic and a teacher wife, they're going up against trying to fight a developer in the neighboring property. 2 attorneys deep. It is the nice weakness. But that's what we're trying to do today. But this is who we, Morgan County, want to be, so that we can turn around and write our county code, planning and zoning code, so that we're protecting our interests and not making it any easier for those that come in, no matter how many attorneys they have and how many square feet, their $22 million home.
The reason I'm saying that is because I happen to be in a situation right now. It's not. We get through.
Great call on. Again, it has, in these meetings, in these community meetings that we've had, we learn a lot from the residents and we're going through these exercises. But it's also been really interesting to hear, from those that are representing their county as well and where their priorities are. And so it's already been fun for us because, the work that your commissioners and Kate are already planning to do after this to support this plan is absolutely amazing. And so it's gonna be a fun project. It's gonna be a fun. Yeah.
I'm the concerned person. All of it. Recognize it. In order to it's coming to Croydon. They're gonna get water to flush the toilets.
Yes, where's the water coming from? That is definitely,
Limiting
it's in lots of places on the spot. But yes, where's the water, where's the infrastructure coming to support the building? Absolutely, that,
Market is short on. Ready with it. Says to them, PCN. That water is from my. Oh, something.
absolutely, that is that is definitely a threat. Absolutely. Perfect thought. All right, so now let's go into something a little bit lighter, and that's resilience. This is the one that people get really proud of. What are those areas in this community that help? What are those things in this community that help you balance? And you can put in there, your natural disaster, bounce back from losing a job, bounce back from a baby being born, all of what helps your community to bounce back. And to be able to cope with those things that are out there. What are those things? Thoughts?
Okay.
Great call out. Dave, friends, the people. What else? Everything else? Trust? All right. Well,
We have a lot of people in the community with such a diverse set of skills. That rise to the occasion and step up and help when something catastrophic happens. When we were flooded, we were just.
so diverse backgrounds, skill sets, that kind of thing. You have what you need within your community that people can step up and fill those gaps. That's a great one. Absolutely. You guys are good at this. What other things that help you become resilient? within the community?
Generational families.
Generational families. All right, so keep these thoughts coming. If you have anything that is the county-wide that you think about for the SWAT plus R plus resilience for the county, when we're great, you'll be able to put those on sticky notes and put them on the board back here in the back for the county as a whole. This has been great. So the last exercise that we have, page 3, this one is Valerie's favorite. You are all now reporters. You're all news reporters, and you're going to create a headline about what describes your ideal community in 20 years. So a headline that describes your ideal community 20 years from now. And then, as you're writing your headline, getting your Pulitzer Prize, best article of the world, then we get to the I likes, I wish. What do you like most about Morgan County as your community? And what do you wish for the future of Morgan County and your community? As it relates to the take a few minutes and then we'll share some ideas. Okay, who's got a headline that they're ready to share? Yes.
Nobody knows it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about. Love it.
Yep. Yep.
See, that's how we work off of each other. That's why we share. What other headlines?
County, still a perfect farming and magic community.
Morgan County is still a perfect ranching and farming community. That's a good one. These are all good. Three really good ones tonight. What else? Yes, sir.
Morgan County hasn't changed in years.
Well, hold it. I hear we want pool. So. We had a pool.
Oh, there was one, huh?
So what other headlines do we have? You guys are good at this. Okay.
There's
what
a hand over here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Character of the Morgan County citizens is kept at the lowest crime rate in the state.
Lowest crime rate in the state. That is a headline to unpack. That's a good one. Because there's lots that feed into it.
There's the quality of people, the value, and one of the difference resilient in the community, all share the same moral values, goodness and integrity.
Values, integrity, shared values and integrity.
Very well done.
Very well.
Very well.
Morgan County, very well armed. That's a good headline. I was expecting more comments this last week on those lines, and I'm very, I was disappointed. Thank you very much. All right, what about I wish? I like I wish. What do you just?
Quick access to the outdoors.
Great access to the outdoors. What else? Yes,
I like that it's quiet and I can see the stars.
quiet to be able to see the stars. What else?
Small hometown feeling, everyone is your friend.
Small hometown feeling, everyone is your friend. More lights out there? Yes, ma'am. People waving at each other. That's
I know,
awesome.
it's kind
I was thinking that, Kate, but I wasn't gonna say it. That is a great one.
I love it. So now, since 2020, I feel like some of those social themes of like are gone in a lot of other communities. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what about I wish?
My favorite from the week is, I wish the last person to been here was the last person.
Yeah. I wish.
I wish people wouldn't come here and then try to bring their city values. Keep it down there.
we have heard, yes, that is hard.
Want that, go back there.
Uh-huh.
That's a really good one. What other I wish? Not too many wishes? That's okay. So I'm gonna throw this back over to Valerie. Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Or do you want to finish it
Yeah,
up?
no, either way.
I can finish up.
Just make sure, if you're able to sign in, did you guys get signed
Oh,
in on
yeah.
that clipboard?
If you haven't signed in, please do. You're right there with the sign-in. You can also sign up to get regular updates about where we're at with the plan. I want to thank you for this. I bet that this is not what you were expecting when you were coming to this meeting. We've heard so much during these activities about what the culture, what the values, what the vision is for your community. That you really can't get from just here's the survey. Or take a look at this map and tell us where you want a single family house. Because I have a feeling, it's the whole thing. And so this has been really awesome for us to be able to set the groundwork of those visions and values that you guys hold dear. I'm hearing people be friendly with each other. We know who each other are. We've got great people that are willing to share their talents and their skills. That we like the night sky. We like to be able to get out and enjoy the land that we have around us. So these are all really good things that build, that we'll be able to lay this foundation for this general plan that we're working on, and be able to provide something that you guys would like and be proud of and willing to support. So back to you, Glenn.
Thank you. Okay, so current next steps. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a resident questionnaire available on the project website, which you can also get to from the county website. It's got words there that says Morgan County General Plan. You can click on that and it'll take you to the project website. And then we've got the water use and preservation element coming before Planning Commission this Thursday and then next month. And then the future residents community meetings coming up probably in April.
And we would look forward to seeing you guys then. So the breakout session, so there's the SWAT, the countywide SWAT, if you have more thoughts that you're like, hey, let's get that down there. And then the maps are just in the back if there's anything that you're like, I love this area, or just things that you kind of, it's a SWAT essentially, but it's on maps. If there's anything that isn't verbally covered that you'd want to include on a map. So thank you again, you guys. This was an awesome fourth meeting that we've been able to have in the series. So thank
Are there
you.
any final questions before we just let you guys, we're available afterwards, of course, but anything you want to bring up to the group? Awesome. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you on the website.
Are we going to share?
We'll take those.
Table it up.